You pick up your phone to check the time. That's all. 4 minutes later, you're watching a video of a man in Norway teaching his dog to open a refrigerator. You don't know how you got there. You don't even own a dog. This happens to you every day, maybe every hour, and the strange part isn't that it happens. The strange part is that some of the most brilliant engineers on the planet designed it to happen exactly like that. But here's what they didn't design. They didn't design your brain. They just found something ancient living inside it and pointed a fire hose directly at it. The real reason you can't stop scrolling has nothing to do with willpower. It has nothing to do with laziness or weakness or lack of discipline. It goes back much further than that. It goes back to a time when your ancestors were standing in tall grass, scanning the horizon, and survival depended on never, ever looking away from something new. Your brain is roughly 300,000 years old. The smartphone is 13. Your brain did not get the update. Neuroscientists call it novelty bias. The technical term is the orienting response, first described in the 1920s by the Russian physiologist Ivan Pavlov, the same man famous for the dogs and the bells. Pavlov noticed that any new stimulus, any unfamiliar sound, movement, or shape in the environment triggered an immediate, automatic shift in attention. The body turned toward it. Breathing slowed, the pupils dilated. The entire nervous system pivoted to assess the new thing. Is it a threat? Is it food? Is it a mate? Is it something I need to know? This wasn't a choice. It was a reflex, a biological hair trigger built into every animal with a nervous system. And in the ancient world, the animal that ignored novelty died. The one that stopped and looked survived. Your feed is an infinite stream of novelty. Every pixel is engineered to fire that reflex. A new face, a sudden sound, unexpected text, a cut to a different location. The feed never resolves. It never satisfies. It just reloads. And each reload tells your orienting response. Not done yet. Keep scanning, keep looking. Something important might be next. There is one more layer. It is called the Zeigarnik Effect, named for the Lithuanian psychologist Bluma Zeigarnik, who noticed in the 1920s that waiters could remember long, complex orders in perfect detail while customers were still at the table, and then forget them entirely the moment the bill was paid. The incomplete task lodges in the brain. The finished one is released. Every piece of content on a feed is slightly unfinished. The video ends with a cliffhanger. The thread gets cut off. The comment references something you haven't seen. The article ends with a question. The algorithm knows this. Open loops are engagement. Closed loops are exits. So there you are, orienting response firing with every new image. Dopamine anticipation loop cycling with every scroll. Social processor running at full capacity on 3 billion strangers. And a feed full of open loops that your brain is biologically obligated to want to close. You were not weak. You were aimed at. The question now is not whether the machine is powerful. It clearly is. The question is whether you can use it without letting it use you. And that requires something your ancient brain was not built for. It requires metacognition, the ability to watch your own mind working, to notice the pull before you've already followed it, to ask in the half second before the scroll, who am I doing this for right now? That half second is where you actually live. Not in the feed, not in the notification, in the pause between the reflex and the action. Researchers at the University of Pennsylvania found that participants who reduced social media use to 30 minutes per day reported significant reductions in loneliness and depression within 3 weeks. Not because the content was harmful in isolation, but because the sheer volume of it was crowding out the slower, quieter signals from their own lives. Your brain is ancient, the machine is new, and you are the only thing standing between them. Tonight, when you pick up your phone to check the time, you will feel it. That small, almost invisible tug toward the feed, toward the next thing, toward the open loop that promises something just beyond the edge of the screen. That pull is 300,000 years old. This is not a conspiracy. It's a design philosophy. The metric that matters to these platforms is time on app. Every feature, every algorithm is pointed at one number. How many more seconds can we keep this person here? But understanding the machine is only half of it. The other half is something you carry in your body. Your ancestors lived in small groups, 50 to 150 people at most. This is the number that Robin Dunbar, the British anthropologist, identified as the cognitive ceiling for human social relationships. The number of people your brain can genuinely track and care about at once. Dunbar's number, as it's now called, sits around 150. Within that group, social information was everything. Who is aligned with whom? Who is angry at whom? Who rose in status today? And who fell? Who is sick? Who is strong? Who might be a threat? Missing a social signal in that world could cost you your place in the group. And being exiled from the group in a world without agriculture, without cities, without any of the structures that make solitary life possible meant death. So your brain evolved to be a relentless social information processor. It never stopped scanning for faces, for expressions, for status cues, for signs of inclusion or exclusion. Now put that brain on a platform with 3 billion users. Give it an infinite feed of faces, expressions, reactions, and status signals from strangers it will never meet. The brain does not know these are strangers. It cannot tell the difference between a person in your actual group and a person on a screen. It processes all of it. The outrage, the envy, the admiration, the schadenfreude. It files every piece of social data as potentially relevant to your survival. This is why you can spend 45 minutes reading an argument between two people you have never heard of in a comment section about a topic that does not affect you in any measurable way. Your social processor does not have an off switch. It was built for a world where every person you encountered mattered. There is a second system running underneath this, a deeper one. Researchers call it the dopamine anticipation loop, and it is far older than human beings. Kent Berridge at the University of Michigan spent years studying what dopamine actually does in the brain, and what he found surprised nearly everyone. Dopamine is not the pleasure chemical. That's a myth. Dopamine is the wanting chemical. It does not make you feel good when you get something. It makes you feel desperate to find out what comes next. Think about the last time you were genuinely excited about something. Not after you got it. Before. The night before a trip, the seconds before you open a package, the moment before a result loads. That electric, forward-leaning feeling of not yet. That is dopamine, and it is the most powerful motivator your brain produces. The slot machine was built on this exact system. You pull the lever, you don't know what comes next. The outcome is random. The uncertainty is the point. The interval between pull and result is where dopamine floods the circuit. Psychologist B.F. Skinner demonstrated in the 1950s that unpredictable rewards produce more compulsive behavior than predictable ones. A rat that gets food every time it presses a lever will stop pressing when it's full. A rat that gets food only sometimes, randomly, will press that lever until it collapses. Your feed is a slot machine. The scroll is the lever. Sometimes what comes next is boring. Sometimes it's funny. Sometimes it's something that makes your chest tighten with recognition. You don't know which it will be, so you keep pulling, and the engineers know this. This is not speculation. In 2018, Sean Parker, one of the founding presidents of Facebook, said publicly that the platform was designed to exploit a vulnerability in human psychology. His exact words were about giving users a little dopamine hit every once in a while. He described how the creators asked themselves how they could consume as much of your time and conscious attention as possible. He said this knowing that it might be destroying how society works. And it's working. The average person spends over 2 hours a day on social media. That's more time than our ancestors spent looking for food. But here's the hopeful part. Awareness changes everything. The moment you understand the mechanism, you start seeing the pull for what it is. Not an irresistible force, but a predictable pattern. You can still use these tools, you can still enjoy the funny dog videos and the interesting conversations, but you do it on your terms, not because the machine decided for you. So tonight, when you pick up your phone to check the time, you will feel it. That pull is 300,000 years old. Now you know what it is. The question is, what are you going to do with that knowledge? Drop a comment and tell me one small change you're going to try. And if you want more videos like this, hit subscribe. There's a lot more ancient code still running inside all of us.